First song at my funeral.
Let's not talk about funerals today, Spice,
Oh,
please.
sorry.
Yeah, I am just saying.
Yeah, I've been on the other
I've
side.
only been in here like 5 minutes.
It's also her song for her warm up for her Eskrima class.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God. Yeah.
Why can't I show
Oh, yeah.
It's called, Celebration of Life. We're going to do a Celebration of Life for Jackson.
I've been on the other side. I can't wait to go. Apparently, I'm just stuck here to take care of some business.
well, I can wait for you to go
don't like
if
it
you don't
here?
mind.
Yeah, well,
Well, that's my stuff. I gotta stay here. To
Yeah.
take
I don't want to
Exactly.
lose. Yeah, it's us. You
I got
can't
it.
leave us.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah, no, you're here.
But I
You're
know that
stuck
my
here.
husband can cook and my son can reconcile his checkbook. I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, but you know that mold of you holding up the world
God.
on your back? That was real
There's a
life.
model.
It wasn't
Yeah,
just,
this is
You
real.
weren't just the model for that. That's like you really need to be doing that.
Yeah.
Keep holding the world on your back.
Okay, well, I thought
Much ahead.
past a certain age you're supposed to learn. You don't have to anymore. So I'm trying to retire from being a doctor
Only
at
if you
least.
suck as a person, but you don't. So
Suck
we
as a-
need you.
I was waiting
The
for that
sucky
as a
people can
person.
die.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, the
They
second
can
people,
die.
they can go, but not us.
It's Darwin. Darwin had a thing, man. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, isn't that true, right? Isn't that true? All right, Lee, you
All
need
right,
some
here
help
we
with
go.
keyboards?
Here we go.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the TLC Unleashed Show, Hollywood Vibes, Sports and Life with your host, Traci Lynn. This show is brought to you by Quest Nutrition. Cheap,
It's okay, it's
clean,
fine.
and make healthy eating fun with Quest Nutrition products.
Good evening, guys. Welcome to the TLC Unleashed Show, Hollywood Vibes, Sports and Life with your host, Traci Lynn. We've got some amazing women in the house today. I'm so glad that they could join me. Today was a bit of a hard day, I'm not going to lie. I lost my dog, Jackson, last night, so 16 and a half, almost 17 years of an amazing ride with my little guy, so it's been a tough day, but you know what? I'm grateful that I get to share it with some beautiful women today, not only on the exterior, but also on the inside as well. You will be amazed when you hear these stories from these women and what they've been doing to change other people's lives and empowering women and helping women and men all over the world. So I'd like to welcome to the show Spice Williams-Crosby. Welcome.
Well, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for having us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jennifer Silverstein, welcome.
Thank you.
I always want to call her Sensei, so I don't care. I'm calling both of you Sensei once in a while. You guys can deal with it. It's respect, that's why.
It means teacher.
Yeah, because you guys have taught me so much in such a little short amount of time, but I know that there's so much more to learn, and I'm so open to learning. And you both have been doing so much work in, like I say, empowering these women and teaching women how to protect themselves. So not only self-defense, but self-protection. And I like that word too, because
Yeah, me too.
a lot of people, look at it as self-defense, as fighting or combat or things like that, but it's self-protection. So let's talk a little bit about your careers today. I want to talk about I Fight for My Life and what an amazing organization it is, and how we are going to be, you guys are going to be putting on an amazing event this weekend.
May 20th
Yeah.
in Van Nuys, the House
Yeah.
of Champions, and it's going to be one of our I Fight for My Life seminars,
Yeah.
which will be with men and women.
Yes.
And we really like training women, but also it's very interesting bringing men into the picture because there's a lot of men today that don't know how to protect themselves, and high school students.
Okay.
So it's become kind of an interesting journey because we were explained by Pierce College, it's through Pierce College, that we can't just do a straight women's course because there were political incorrectness things about that.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to discriminate being a community college and all that. So it's open to the community, which we're happy to include the men this time. You're never too late or too old to learn something. So
Yeah. Well, I love it. It must be a different dynamic because, self-defense, because for me, I guess, being in circumstances where I've been, abused and violated, and so for me, I've never been in the environment with men, and I think it's a great thing because it also builds trust. With the opposite sex as well, in a really vulnerable environment, because men are also being attacked and men are also being abused by women. So
Well, yeah. And
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Men do get attacked, and I mean, I always say, when you step on an airplane, you get a 5-minute video as to what to do in case of an air traffic accident. Where do people today get a 5-minute video as to what to do in case someone grabs them, takes them down, clocks them, puts a gun to their head, a knife to their throat? Nobody has any clues.
yeah.
They don't know. And so, yes, you have to learn how to drive a car before you get into a car. But really, when you go out on those streets, we don't have hand-to-hand combat in war anymore, really. We push a button and a missile goes over. But the hand-to-hand combat is right here in the streets. So, I mean, everyone should learn self-protection, how to protect yourself.
Absolutely. Let's
Yes,
talk a little bit
absolutely.
about your careers, how you got started. Jennifer, let's start out with you.
How I got started in self-defense.
How you got started out in your career. I mean, this goes way back for you. You've been teaching and you've learned the Krav Maga. So let's talk a little bit about the beginning and now to here.
Well, I was many years ago, 30 years ago, in the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, Navy division, actually. So went through basic training and all that fun stuff. And we do learn a little bit of hand-to-hand combat and basic training, firearm, all that. Marching, a lot of marching.
Yeah.
But never really did anything with that in the service. I did try out for actually a female fighting unit, but because I had only been in the country 2.5 years, and you need to be in the country at least 3 to pass the security in order to get into a unit like that.
Yeah.
It's a high security unit. I couldn't pass that. So did my service, ended up coming back to the States to raise my daughter, and ended up opening up my own business working with animals. And about 11 years ago, I got into the wonderful world of self-defense. I started with taking classes with my sister in Krav Maga, and I fell in love with it. I loved just feeling empowered. I loved feeling strong and confident, and it really changed my life. And it's just been evolving ever since, training with many different senseis, instructors, grandmasters. It's where I met Spice.
How long ago did you guys meet?
Oh, we were training together in a gym. We were training, not together.
Separately.
Yeah.
Separately, but I eyeballed her, she eyeballed me, and
No, what happened was she
I
was
love the different
talking,
versions.
and I across the gym heard her, and I
Well,
said,
'cause
"Wow."
That doesn't sound
because I'm a
very
loud
nice.
mouth.
I said, "Wow, there's
Sounds alright.
finally someone in the gym as loud as me." And she
know.
immediately, we just went zoop,
Yeah.
and blah 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 blah, and
But then
she-
I chased her. I said, "Look, I'm doing these seminars and things, and I'd love for you to come help me." Oh, I don't know. I was like a couple years.
Well, no, she told me about I Fight for My Life and everything she's doing with the TV show and everything to empower women, and the stories of the women that have been through domestic violence and attacks, some of them extremely violent. And I don't know if you're going to share any of those stories, but it just broke my heart. And I also felt like, wow, that is such a privileged thing to be a part of, to bring women that have been so broken and hurt. And hopefully I don't cry telling you this.
Oh, come
But I
on.
just
We're
felt like,
all
God,
crying today. I'm just
Yeah.
everybody, because
I felt like what a just an angel woman to give them that love and that support and that strength. And it was a while before we actually did something together, but when we
Yeah.
did, we've been together ever since.
Well, you know what they say, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. But I went through my life being kidnapped, locked in a house, sexually molested, going through some rapes and some, I didn't live a leave it to beaver childhood. I had a pretty, the drugs, the alcohol, everything. By the time I was 26, I had to hit my knees and ask God to help me turn my life around. And eating healthy, changing my whole, getting into sports, bodybuilding, all of that was great. But it was getting into martial arts that really touched my soul. And I learned martial arts. I got some black belts and everything.
Hold on. I got some black belts. Can we go back and let's rewind that? Let's talk about your black belts. That's just not, you got some black belts. How
Well-
long does it take to get a black belt anyway? Or
Well, they didn't let me test until I'd been fighting and training for 10 years. Wow. So then I had to do my black belt, then a year later you have to do another black belt to solidify that. It's like you're on probation. Then you have to wait 2 years to get your second degree. Then you have to wait 3 years to get your third degree, and then it just keeps piling. So I have a third degree in Arjikempo and a first degree still in Eskrima, which is sticks and knives, and then I'm certified. As with Jennifer, when we teamed up together, we went through Kapap,
Yeah.
which is hand-to-hand combat, and we wound up getting our level, there's ABC, we wound up getting our B, and then C in Guatemalan Kapap, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but what we did is, we started doing a free class for the community. And we
Kapap, just so people know, is an acronym for Krav Panim Lepanim, which means hand-to-hand combat.
Perfect. So what's the difference between the Kapap and the Guatemalan?
Well, they speak Spanish.
No. All right.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Every
Spanish
sensei,
division.
yeah, the Spanish division.
Okay.
Every sensei that takes off and creates their own kind of system within a system, they put their spin on it.
Okay.
So to say.
Okay.
So we were certified through the Israeli ministry through Moshe Kalisko, and under Sensei Yaakov Bressler. And then one of the men that we had trained with, Sensei Stewart, Schumann.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I had
okay.
a senior moment there. Who's from Guatemala.
Yeah.
He has his system there.
Yeah.
And as
great.
I was belted under also in Kempo, under in Puerto Rico, there was Sensei, Jesus, what's wrong with me today?
Willie Hernandez.
Willie Hernandez.
She's just making sure Jennifer has all her facts.
Oh, she does.
I know,
No,
right?
she does.
Personal
Car
assistant.
navigator.
No, that's why you keep them all around for when your brain goes. You know, they say that's the
That's why we
second.
work so well together.
They say that's the yeah.
She's my brain and
The second thing to go. That's why I start the sentence.
not the brain,
She
it's
finishes it. But
Add a couple sentences.
but we got certified in Puerto Rico in the security defense.
Defensive tactics.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then we got certified through the Israeli Ministry of Education, and then the Guatemalan. So it's all about protecting yourself
Yeah.
and maximum damage, least amount of effort, working with guns, knives, street smart stuff.
So the background that you had, going through that trauma and the things you went through, is that why you decided to get involved with this?
Well, it's kind of interesting because as an actress, I also took on doing stunts. And when you're doing stunts for 35 years, I always had a fight coordinator showing me, okay, here's how we're going to shoot the gun this way. I killed more people or got killed. So I was always shooting, stabbing, or fighting, which was a lot of fun. But the first time I got invited into a ring to fight for real, I learned that cameras don't hit back. I mean, that was a rude awakening. I'm like, oh, crap, I have to actually put my hands up and bob weaves. And that's when I made up my mind, you know what, I want to learn the real deal. So then outside of the martial arts, then I realized martial arts, there's all kinds of martial arts.
Yeah.
And this is street smarts when you're learning this Kapap or like Jennifer's amazing in Krav Maga. That world for her.
So the question maybe you should have asked, or sorry.
What's wrong
I
with
told
you?
her she was going to interview today because I was feeling
I know, I'm
sad.
just listening to you two and pick up on little
Yeah,
things.
she should have asked that.
Was the difference between Krav Maga and Kapap, because the Krav Maga is the more commercial name for contact combat. It's Hebrew for contact combat, literally translated.
So Krav
And
Maga and Kapap are the same.
Well, I was going to say Kapap is actually a branch of Krav Maga.
Okay.
So you've got the contact combat and the hand-to-hand combat. They do overlap in a lot of techniques.
Yeah.
But like Spice was saying, with the security defensive tactics and the Guatemalan Ba'alam and the other certifications, each system or sensei or grandmaster will have their spin on it, and you're just learning a little bit more and overlapping. But
Yeah.
for the audience's sake, just so the
Yeah,
Krav
'cause we
Maga,
know.
hand-to-hand combat, they overlap. But
And-
it is street fighting. It is
And what does Krav
combat
mean?
fighting.
What is just the word Krav?
Krav means fight,
So,
Okay.
and Maga means touch.
Magami.
I fight touch you.
Here, I'm
I
gonna
fight
Maga
touch
you.
you.
I'm learning so much.
Listen, if you can't have a good sense of humor about it all, when you get into a fight,
Yeah.
you know, you learn a lot, and you know all your techniques usually go out the window. But what we have taught, and what we
That's very
really
true.
emphasize, is fighting like a cat being shampooed. You
Wow.
can't
Yeah.
let your adrenal glands dump your adrenaline, freeze, go paralytic. You've got to keep your mind focused and be able to just, and what we teach, you're learning the soft points where to hit, target,
Yeah.
ripping ears off, gouging eyes, biting. We like to really mess someone up.
If we need to, yeah. And what I'd love to go back with the adrenaline dump and explain that a little bit more for people that don't understand, because there's those situations where, you know, even like the police lights, sirens go on, like things like that or anything. Can you explain the adrenaline dump and what it is if people are not familiar with that?
Well, you have two adrenal glands. They sit on top of your kidneys, and they're about that big, and they look like little Napoleonic cats. And they do a lot of things. They produce cortisol when you're under stress. They produce DHEA, which is dehydroepienostrel, to balance your hormones out. They produce all your hormones. They also produce sodium bicarbonate to make sure you're not acidic. But they also, adrenal glands produce adrenaline.
Yeah.
And adrenaline is shot out when you go into a fight or flight situation, a scary thing, and you have 60,000 miles of vessels in your body, and there are little beta receptor sites where this adrenaline will attach to it and squeeze the vessels. Actually, that's what hypertension is.
Yeah.
Just fix the adrenal glands and learn how to om, and you'll be able to settle that hypertension down. But once that happens, once this heart starts going and your palms are sweaty and your eyes are glazed over and you can't breathe, you freeze. It's called a paralytic dump and or adrenaline dump, and it happens to the best. It happens to soldiers, police officers, advanced martial artists. It just happens. It's happened to pilots.
Yeah.
The training, you could be the greatest technician in the world, but you need to train past that adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
And that's why Jennifer and I always feel it's so important to, when we teach hands-on. We do have men, I mean, we can put our hands around a woman's throat and say, okay, we're going to teach the choke. But then you get a guy with his hands around your throat, and some of these women start to panic a little bit, even though they know they're not going to be hurt, but it sets up this fight or flight situation, and that's what you have to train through.
So is that training through, Jen, like when you're doing that and you're actually doing the hands-on and the choking, is that how we train through it?
Yeah, you got to train through it. Unfortunately there's no easy way to go through it, and there's like little panic and big panic, you know, and everyone's different. Their tolerance is different, and how they handle it is different. We teach all the combatives, the techniques, the vital point strikes. It's very hard to teach that fighting spirit. We try to bring it out. We try to get the aggression. We try to give people permission to fight for themselves and to do something. But in the end, it's really up to your own will to survive, with or without skills, to just fight through it and do anything you can to survive no matter what. And people have to really pull that from deep in their core. And it's hard. We do pressure drills and other things. But yeah, like I said, you'll get someone's hands around your neck, and you can panic real quick once you start feeling that choke.
And that's good what she said. She just said a little panic or a big panic. And we've had women on the bag. We do palm strikes, hammer, elbows, head, stuff like that. And I saw a woman just getting her to hit the bag. She was like, I can't do this. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, I'm going to start crying. I go, well, cry. I don't care. Cry, puke, I don't care, but don't stop.
Yeah.
You cannot stop. So you take them sometimes to a point where I've been attacked. Okay, me too. Let's go.
Yeah.
You don't buy into it. I mean,
Yeah.
I can emphasize with them,
Yeah.
but to lay down in that wallow of, oh, I've been attacked, serves you no good. It's like, got it, been there, now let's fix it.
Yeah, solution based. And I do actually, like I am familiar with that because doing the self-defense classes with both of you, and I always told the story about when I first walked in, I was scared to death because I was like, oh my God, these women look like this and they're amazing and they're strong and they're powerful and I don't know what to expect.
Who are you?
But when you're coming into something and
I know.
it's different and
It's a fish out of water thing.
yeah, and there's triggers. We all have our triggers. So coming in, I didn't know what to expect, and I think that's the biggest thing, and that's really what I want to convey today. So that, because my biggest thing is when I ask people, take self-defense with me or come to this course or this class, they're like, oh, I don't know. And I go, well, tell me, why don't you know? Like, what is it for you? What's going on for you that's keeping you back, holding you back? Well, what's it like? Because they want to know what it's like before they get in there because
I think they're going to get hurt.
They think they're going to get hurt. They think they're going to get put on the spot. They think that, emotional stuff's going to come up. And it is. And it's also we're fear of the unknown, but also the healing. That was my biggest thing because, I came out of a domestic violence situation from my ex-husband, and I didn't know if I was strong enough to heal at that point. I didn't know if I was ready for that. You're never going to be ready. And that's the thing, and that's what I like to tell people because it's like just come and just be part of it, even if you just show up.
Yeah.
Just show up.
No, you're so right.
That's a great point, Tracy, really. I'm glad you touched on that, because I honestly don't think that we're that scary.
No, you're not.
She is.
You're not.
She is. I'm not. She is scary.
No,
Trust me.
No, but you guys
I was
know
gonna
your
say,
stuff.
I think it gets people out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it reflects on them and their insecurities, the not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And because it's not, maybe Spice and I was a tomboy, she's a woman of the world.
My husband calls me Annie
Yeah.
Oakley. So
she's like, let's try anything once, and if we like it, we'll do it a bunch more times. So
You're like, that was cool.
a lot of people aren't naturally inclined to go to like a self-defense class because they feel like, oh, I don't want to be a boxer or a fighter. Or
but the worst of it,
out of your comfort zone.
But the worst of it is, I know it gets her goat and it gets my goat when they go, oh well, I'll just call the police, and I'm like, well, when it takes minutes for the cops to get there,
what are you gonna do until then?
How many seconds does it take to kill you or harm you? And why are you not interested in protecting yourself? Why are you not interested in protecting your family? I mean, we all got car insurance. We all put our seatbelts on. We all have to make sure we have fire things, and we're protecting our environment all the time.
Yeah.
What is wrong with people?
It's a great question.
Yeah. And we're taking care of our health. If we didn't have our health, like you said, coming into your next level of your life and going into the health and becoming a vegan and all those different things, and myself too, coming out of eating disorders and addictions and things like that in my 20s, it was like
I had all those. You're not that special.
I know. We're twins.
What else did we do? Let me say.
Come on. What else?
We didn't rob a bank. I know that much.
Yeah, because we'd have money.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo.
Not that we don't. But the thing is
It's
that
never too late to run.
That's true.
Yeah, don't give me any
See,
ideas.
I told you, she's a lot scarier than me. I told
It's
you.
the quiet ones you
still
gotta
go
watch
yeah,
out for.
the rivers run
The quiet,
deep.
the quiet ones.
But you know how we're laughing right now.
Yeah.
We take our teaching very seriously, but we also have a good time.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and actually I was criticized about that one time because I had a girl come into the class.
About what part? Having fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'll say, like, okay, get into rape position. Who do you want to rape you? And we're all like enjoying each other. And they'll turn to my son, who's really good looking. Oh, can he rape me? And
Oh my
we just
people say.
yeah, out of kibitzing. It's just kibitzing.
Yeah.
But one woman said, "I've been raped. You don't understand." I go, "Wait a minute, honey. I've been raped 3 times. I was kidnapped and locked in a house for 6 hours and molested. I got gang raped. I know what all this is about. I've had a knife to my throat, a gun to my head. I choose not to wallow in doom. I choose to enjoy my life. I am alive. I've got my body, and I sympathize with the panic that you had, but it's serving you no good.
Well, the difference is you're not a victim anymore.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's not, thank you.
Absolutely.
We take victims and turn them into victors.
Yeah.
We don't want to be, who wants to be oppressed and a victim? It's so boring.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a lot of the different techniques, is that what we'd call them?
Yeah.
Techniques, like being down in rape position, like you said. I remember doing that, having that a few times in the classes and the lessons, and I got angry when I couldn't get out of, like, getting, you know, the person off of me in the exercise. And it was like, for me, it was frustrating because, you know, I couldn't really put my mind into the scenario and really get into the moment. I just was like, I wanted to fight. Like, I just wanted to win. And so I was really trying to connect with it. And I think that's the biggest thing about self-defense and self-protection is really connecting with it. And you guys really teach that and have taught that to me, so that when I'm in there, I think about, if this was a real life situation, what would I do? Like, this isn't a joke. This is a real life situation. If you're being raped or attacked or pinned down on the ground or choked up against a wall, what are you going to do?
Well, there's concepts that we like to teach. And it's like if his hands are around your throat, his hands are busy, yours are free. Can he rape you with his pants on? No. Can he rape you with your pants on? No. So therefore, he's going to have to remove and pull his fly down, pull his pants down, or pull your pants down. In the interim, his hands get busy. You've got to understand when your moment to be able to attack is. So you think, you calm your nerves down, you think, what's the best way? I mean, if I see a guy who's going to pull his fly down and pull something out, my mind is, oh, I got something to grab now. You know, I don't
and
start
moving
panicking.
past that, oh, I'm helpless stage.
Yeah.
Oh, he's attacking me, and now I'm helpless. Like when you were pinned down in the rape position, you got angry, you got frustrated maybe because you felt like you didn't know what to do or you felt like you couldn't do anything. And then you get into that, oh, I'm helpless. And once your brain reverts into that mindset, you do freeze and you are just basically a sitting duck waiting for them to do whatever
Because you
they're going
become
to do to you.
helpless.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
they're going to do to you, right? And rather than thinking, I'm not helpless, I can do something.
Yeah.
And we give them the skills to do something. Better to learn them in class before an attack. God
Right.
forbid it should ever happen to anybody. But if you are, wouldn't you want to know what to do before?
Yes.
Rather than feeling like I don't know what to do or I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You're never helpless.
Yeah.
Right?
And you,
I mean, you've got something you can do.
totally. Yeah, and bouncing off that point, Sensei Keon, who's big guy, how big
Yeah.
do you think he is? You know how big he
He
is.
teaches me a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Yeah.
shouldn't say that on the air.
But I had him take this little girl
Yeah.
and wrap her up in his arms and hold her up against the post in the ring. And I said, so what are you going to do? She goes, I can't do anything. My hands are here. My legs are all pinned down. I can't do anything. And I said, you can't do anything? She goes, no, I can't do anything. So I reached in and I grabbed her hands and turned them like that. I said, now just grab his flesh and squeeze it as hard as you can. And she did, and he popped away just enough for her to pop him in the face. I said, there, you did something.
Yeah.
And like Jennifer always says, if this isn't working, don't stick with it. Like, oh, it didn't work, it worked in class. Go to something else, go to something else, go to something else.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, and that's what it was. It was always, for me, I'd go, oh, I don't really know what to do. And you're like, use your hands, use this, use your head, use that, use anything. And you start realizing that you have all these, weapons, like an extension of your arm, using your purse or your bag or groceries or...
And you'd be surprised what's really interesting. Remember that girl we had in one of the seminars? She apparently got clocked by her boyfriend. She was a little bitty thing and he was big. She got clocked by her boyfriend. He threw her down on her face on the bed and raped her.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, okay.
On her stomach.
Yes. And she said, I didn't know what to do. Well, I said, well, first of all, it's your boyfriend. Because this is a guy you used to make love with and had a relationship, and now he's turned into an evil creature. So there's your mind split. Should I hurt him? Should I not? And then the other thing is, I said, get down on your face, and I took one of our biggest senseis and I put him down on top of her. And she just turned white.
She turned white. Ooh.
And I said, now, what are you going to do? She goes, I don't know. I go, well, where are your hands? And she goes, I don't know. She didn't know where her hands were. She didn't know where her feet were. Everything, you go like
You
this.
panicked.
You panic, and your whole life is up here, and you forget this other part of your body. I go, your hands are right there. Reach in, and whatever you reach in, grab and pinch as hard as you can. And the minute she did that, the guy popped away, and I said, now flip. Mm-hmm. But she lost the understanding of her body. She had no idea where hands or legs were. And that happens when you panic.
Yeah. And we teach early versus late defense too. That's obviously very late defense. Hopefully we teach everyone, women especially, to hopefully not get into that position by seeing the signs, recognizing them, and defending earlier rather than later, so that you're not in more of a compromising situation.
Yeah.
Because that's really key. And I think we are a little too trusting and a little too unassuming, and we get ourselves in really bad situations that we could have prevented had we reacted sooner.
Yeah.
And
Which doesn't mean you have to be paranoid.
Yeah.
It's just, as we say, be aware, be prepared, prevent,
Yeah.
but know that you have a right to fight for your life. And that's why we teach like the thinking pose. If you're standing out in the street and you're in this thinking pose, what do you do?
you
in a
teach
thinking-
that in every school needs to just
Every school should. What do you do in a thinking
just
pose?
learn a thinking
Yeah.
pose.
What do you do? What do you do in a thinking pose?
You think?
No, oh my God!
Woo, I learned
Yes,
something.
some people,
We're not
some
teaching
people,
that in schools.
no, but some people will sit there and go, I have no idea.
What was I
They go,
thinking
"Oh,
when I
let me
was
give you the
thinking?"
keyword.
What do we do in
Think.
the thinking pose?
Thinking.
Let me think about that.
Exactly.
I'm really glad I got that right because they would have failed me.
Exactly.
And you're out.
Hammer fist.
Freaking elbows to the face.
So you have a lot to think about in that thinking pose. It's what calms you down. Where is he? Where are his hands? Who just walked out of the bank? Was there a child there? Is he selling me Girl Scout cookies, or does he have a knife? In that thinking pose is this pre-moment of being able to assess your environment.
I didn't have a word for your pre-moment.
No,
I tried
but
to
I mean,
jump in and say
I know,
that,
well,
but I didn't.
We're like,
Do you have
where's
a
the brain?
pre-moment?
Where's the brain?
Pre-moment?
Trying
Do
to
you have a
think of what
pre-moment?
would the word
Something?
be.
I got it. It was almost there.
Yeah, there is the word. We
I
just
know.
don't know it.
That's
I'm
okay.
having a
Our
senior
viewers,
moment
let
today.
us know. A pre-moment.
A pre-moment.
Another word for that, let us know. Let us know. Facebook, Instagram.
Check it out at
Type in
Webster's.
the word.
Somebody Google this right now.
Yeah,
We need
exactly.
help. We need help.
Yeah. But for God's sakes, people walk out. I swear to the heavens, I was backing up. You know, we have on our cars now things that you can see where you're backing up. And I looked in the rearview mirror. I looked around, and there's this woman on her phone texting, standing like 4 feet from the back of my car. And I'm backing up, and I stopped, and she's just standing there, and I finally got out of the car. I go, do you want me to hit you or what? I mean, they're so unaware.
Yeah.
People are so unaware, and they don't know when you're walking. Oh, I got jumped one night with my son walking to my car at 12 o'clock midnight on Christmas Eve, and a guy from around a car came running at me, short guy. Nothing against short guys, but he was short.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I don't want to get
We don't want to hear anything.
'Cause
We're
I
heard
am-
thinking about
I
short
am the
guys.
most politically
Good.
incorrect human being on this
We
planet.
love short guys,
for the
too,
short
tall guys, medium,
Exactly.
height.
Walking up to you.
But he was wearing, I just came out of a house with a bunch of stunt people, and he was wearing a green Christmas shirt with a white Santa Claus hat.
Well, that'll throw you off. You're not expecting.
And he came running up to me.
One of the elves
Because that
to
seems,
attack you.
yeah.
thought it
that
was
seems
like
like a
some-
happy outfit.
Yeah.
Not an attacker
Who would
outfit.
get attacked by an elf? I mean,
You.
I guess.
We can laugh about it now.
But the only thing my training kicked in was the minute he came running. I had my keys in my hand, and he came running after me to grab my throat and my keys. And I went, we teach arrowhead.
Yeah.
I went into a split arrowhead. And I smashed him in the face and I smashed his arm. The biggest mistake I made was I said, "Who are you? Do I know you?" Because in that time the altercation took place. I should have just elbowed him, grabbed him, and slammed him down. But that one brief second was, I just came out of a Christmas party. Maybe he's a stunt guy that wants to just, hey, Spice, let's play around, whatever. And I said, "Who are you? Do I know you?" And we fought over my dad's keys. Well, I say my dad's keys. Had my dad's World War I and World War II dog tags on. They slammed up on my chest. He scraped my chest. We got into an altercation. I finally and then Luke goes, "Mom!" And my son, and he's got all these katanas and these swords in the back of the car. He's pulling them out. I'm like, "Luke, please."
Running into the woods
He's
after.
going to run after him. I go, "No, they might be 6 of them around the corner."
That's not self-defense anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
that's not
I
fighting.
think what we
teaching.
learned from that is kick ass first, ask questions later.
Exactly, and it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Grandma, but you shouldn't have, scared me that way." But yes, I should have, with all my training, and I talked to a police officer about this, who I love dearly, and he goes, "Is that still eating you up?" And I go, "It is. It's eating me up. I should have just clocked him." And he goes, "Well, us police officers that have maybe a fraction of a second to figure out, should we shoot, should we not, we have to live with it for the whole thing, through the trials, through the court cases, through years, and we wonder, wow, could I have done it differently?" And he goes, "Don't let it eat you up.
Yeah.
You let it eat you up, you're not going to get better for the next time. You won't learn from that lesson."
Yeah, and
So-
you did learn. I mean,
Yeah, but it still eats me up.
Well, you know what, though?
Well, I think
Obviously, he
there's-
had bad intentions, and had you not blocked and confronted him, something worse could have happened.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So my training kicked
He
in on
ran
that level.
off,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yes.
because you gave him some sort of
Exactly.
resistance.
Right.
So,
And he didn't expect it. He expected me to back up being a victim. "Oh, please don't hurt me."
Yeah.
And I just closed the gap and went right in on him, so
Yeah.
it threw him off his game.
sure.
You would have
Sure.
kicked his butt.
yes.
Just for wearing that sweater. But
See?
that's from
That's
the Jew.
classic.
Sorry,
That's funny. Oh, well
My
played.